Good morning, everybody. My name is SIRAPHOP THONGPRASERT from the Newton 6 Forum, and today I'll be presenting about fiber prepectate. So imagine a child breaks their arm. The doctor wraps it in a fiberglass cast, which is the standard of care basically everywhere. 6 weeks later, that cast has to come off. And the tool used to remove the cast is a spinning saw blade, which is millimeters away from the skin. Scary, right? Another scarier moment is much earlier at the register. The high cost of treatment is what's preventing proper people from getting the proper treatment. What if it didn't have to be that way? What if the cast itself could be changed so that removal was as simple as soaking it in water? This is why I developed fiber prepectate. At its core, this project addresses three main problems. The saw-based removal, which has a really high risk of injury, especially in untrained hands, and it puts and non-biodegradable waste from fiberglass resin components that do not break down because it is made from petrochemicals. And finally, costly materials. Since all of them, petrochemicals and these resins, are non-biodegradable and unrenewable, this shoots up the cost by a lot of times. And my objective is to match or try to match fiberglass strength using renewable materials and remove safely without a saw. So my innovation has three parts. Firstly, a woven bass rubber fiber. Using sodium alginate as a seaweed-derived substance, and it's used to soak or impregnate the fiber. This creates what it's called a pre-preg, or pre-soaked with its own curing agent, so it can begin hardening the moment it's applied. Secondly, calcium lactate. A food-safe calcium gelation is a calcium compound that triggers an egg-box junction together, like eggs in a carton. This causes the sodium alginate and calcium lactate to mix together to create a solid substance. It cures evenly without the burst of the more common calcium chloride, as when calcium chloride mixes with sodium alginate, it produces an exothermic reaction, which can potentially harm people's skin. And here's how it's actually applied. It's 6 steps, and it feels like applying a fiberglass cast. This is adapted for clinical trials because slow curing is not efficient. Firstly, selecting the weave. There is 3 weaves that I've chosen to use, but mainly hemp. Then, soak it in a sodium alginate solution, and wrapping, applying around the rim, just like a fiberglass tape. And 4, curing. Calcium lactate is poured onto the cast to let it begin hardening. And 5, setting. The egg box gelation locks shape. And 6, removal. A sodium citrate soak displaces the calcium to make it softer and easier to remove by far. So here is how it compares to normal casts. For fiber, both is continuous and load-bearing, but mine is plant-based, not glass. Sources. Fiberglass need mined and manufactured materials, while mine is renewable. And removal. Fiberglass needs a saw, while mine just needs a sodium citrate soak. So it's the same strength principle, but it has a safer removal and renewable materials. Here is the cost comparison. A single fiberglass roll retails around $11 to $12, and a full cast usually requires more than a roll, so that's already increasing the cost by a lot. My tape is built from food-grade commodity ingredients, raw jute or hemp fiber, sodium alginate, calcium lactate, and sodium citrate is all priced in kilograms, and in the single digits to tens of dollars, not per specialized medical rolls. I want to be precise here. The material here are raw market prices, not a tested per cast ingredients. So what does this mean for patients? It means that fiber pre-crack casting tape shows that fracture care doesn't have to entirely depend on mined silica and petrochemical resins. It tries to match fiberglass strength while removing two of its biggest flaws, which is injury-prone removal and high material cost. Here are the challenges. So, sodium alginate is prone to being soft after a week of wear because of moisture, but that is a problem I will aim to resolve in the future. And cure time and removal timing is unverified. Due to this being a novel innovation, nobody has really tested it before. Here are my references. Thank you.
So since this material is not resistant to the water, I think especially in summer days, probably you may sweat a lot. So that may cause some removal of this material, I think. Do you have any idea to prevent such situation?
Yes, currently I'm looking at two ways, one of which will decrease the biodegradability of the cast, and the second is a chiding coating, which is basically a coating made from seashells, and it's just a slight coat to prolong the life of the cast without getting it wet.
Okay. My question is similar to the other students, the keto acid based cast, and this is also for a low-income patient, and you compare the cost, but how much do you think it can reduce the cost? How much?
By a lot of times. Usually when somebody gets a fiberglass cast applied, treatment costs also shoot up the treatment range. The price ranges in the hospitals, price ranges from $100 to $1,000 in extreme cases, but my innovation tries to reduce the price by a lot by reducing the material costs. Although the treatment costs I cannot really guarantee, it's probably up to the hospitals.